All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Well, I went to a dinner party last night for the Guardsmen, and guess who was there? Marcelino McCrary Ball, the 49er linebacker, was in the house. And man, just getting a chance to talk to Marcelino, having watched him a lot last year, interviewed him a bunch of times. I'm so excited for what this kid is going to bring to the table this summer. I think this might be one of the real breakout players, not just for the 49ers, but really across the league. He's a kid who's born in Roswell. His hometown's Roswell, Georgia, played at Indiana, started out at Indiana as a corner. He's actually playing the corner and then wound up playing safety much of his career. And he's tough. He's a tough player. He's a good hustle player. He's a smart player. He's got an NFL frame. He's got really strong hands. He can close quickly on the underneath routes. He's got the size to tackle with a big and brings big thump. He makes plays on the football. He's an effective blitzer. This kid was well coached at Indiana. And then I asked him, I said, why'd you come here? Why'd you come here? This team's got Greenlaw and they've got Warner. Last year, when I asked him the question, they had Azeez Al-Shaair. I'm like, why did you come to the Niners? And he's like, man, those guys are dogs. And I know I'm good enough to run with them. And man, this is where I wanted to be. And he's like, I told my agent, absolutely, that's where I want to be. So he, challenged himself to basically join as a rookie one of the deepest linebacking cores in the NFL. And here we are a year later. Now Azeez has moved on in free agency, and Marcelino is absolutely looks like he's put on another 5 to 10 pounds of muscle, and he is going to be absolutely a terror this summer in camp and in the preseason. Now, it's not like, all players have weaknesses, and his weaknesses have been in the past that he'll slip off some tackles, that he needs to finish, and bring guys to the ground with a little bit more consistency, that his instincts and coverage are just okay, largely due to the fact that he's gone from a corner to a safety to a linebacker, and he's still learning, pre-snap recognition. He's a smarter player today than he was when he came out, a year ago, much smarter player. But we're talking about a guy that has NFL linebacker size at about, I would say he's probably about 220. He played at around 215 at safety for Indiana, but I'd say he's right around 220, 225. But we're talking about a 4-5 linebacker. This guy runs with 4-5 speed. And when you watch him play out there, you can see that speed. 6 feet, 214 pounds at Indiana, redshirted 2 full years at the collegiate level. And, it's definitely an undersized player at linebacker, but this is the modern NFL where your speed and your agility and your ability to play pass coverage means more than your bulk. And can you take on guards? It used to be, man, if you're an inside backer or your linebacker is playing from scrimmage, you better be 250. You better have that big old neck roll, and you better be able to take on guards. That's not the job description anymore. Teams are in the sub package 75% of the time. You're going up against 3 and 4 wides all the time. You have to be able to play pass coverage. So I'm really intrigued by what Marcelino is going to do this year. Very productive player throughout his Indiana career. He had 60 tackles in 2016. Has had some really, really nice seasons at Indiana, but that's all at safety. The question was, could he transition to linebacker? And then last year in the preseason, he showed not only does this guy still have enough thump, at 218 pounds or whatever he was to affect the run, but he's an outstanding weapon against the pass. He had an interception in the preseason. He's got great instincts, great knowledge of where the ball is. He's around the ball a lot. And you're talking about another undrafted player. The 49ers brought in 14 undrafted players after the 2022 draft, and McCrary Ball was one of the most impressive all year. Now, he didn't ever play from scrimmage in the regular season, but it really has nothing to do with him. It's just how loaded they were at linebacker. They were so deep at linebacker that they absolutely never asked him to step in and play from scrimmage. So he never really has played. But man, looking at him last night, as far as what kind of condition he's in, talking to him for a few minutes, he's got he's got more knowledge of the defense than ever before. He's going to, new defensive coordinator, but the defense is going to be largely the same. And he's put on great weight. He's spent a lot of time working out, and he looks like he's ready to seize his moment. So I can't wait for it. It's going to be a phenomenal summer watching the 49er linebackers. If we just take a perusal of the depth chart, you've got Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. Those are your two stack backers. A lot of times the Niners will go with, either a 4-2-5 look or a 5-2-4 look. They sometimes will, and a lot of times they're trying to cover that second level with two stack backers. And that third linebacker, the strong side linebacker, doesn't play very much, which is why Azeez Al-Shaair was not paid in free agency. They didn't pay him simply because he wasn't on the field enough snaps to justify the kind of money that he got elsewhere. So Azeez moves on in free agency, and he'll be great, I'm sure, because he's a terrific player. But even talking to Azeez late in the year, he's like, Marcelino next year is going to be something. He's coming. I mean, I think Azeez kind of knew when I interviewed him in the playoffs that, it was very unlikely that the 49ers were going to, pony up the kind of dollars to keep him in free agency. He knew it. He kind of knew that he was probably going to have to go elsewhere to secure the bag because you had Greenlaw and Warner already extended. You had guys like Marcelino sitting right there. And then, the 49ers also have a whole slew of special teams backers. Curtis Robinson, Oren Burks, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. Those three guys are all outstanding special teamers and could be the best special team linebacker on any team they're on. I mean, that's how good those guys are from special teams. So you got Greenlaw, and you've obviously got the great Fred Warner, and now you got Marcelino. I think those are probably your ones. Then I just named you the three special team backers. Then you also have Jalen Graham and D. Winters. And Jalen Graham and D. Winters are real. Both those guys are NFL players and are good. And Winters was drafted, higher, so he's probably got a very good chance to make the roster. But after watching Jalen Graham in the minicamp, the rookie minicamp, he looked terrific too. So, and Scott McCloughan's a big fan of Jalen Graham. I expect Jalen Graham to make this team. So the competition at linebacker for the 49ers this summer is going to be fierce. There's no way around it. The competition is going to be incredibly fierce, and they're going to wind up either trading somebody or cutting somebody who absolutely, maybe multiple somebodies that absolutely are going to play in the NFL. But the guy that I would say is primed for maybe the biggest breakout on the defense, there's a few: Drake Jackson, Kalia Davis, Samuel Womack. There's a bunch of guys on this defense that I think are going to make strides forward. But I will put Marcelino McCrary Ball up against any of them. I think McCrary Ball doesn't just have the ability to start. I think he's got the ability to star. And I would not be shocked if I know he's going to make the team. But as far as I think Marcelino is going to be a very, very good NFL linebacker. I really do. I think he's the future of what you're looking for at linebacker. Can they play coverage? Yes. Do they have man-to-man ability? Yes. This guy played corner. Do they run 4.5 or faster? He does. Do they have enough thump to make tackles against big running backs, 220-pound running backs? He does. He plays with a lot of force, a lot of strength. So great undrafted free agent signing. I mean, not just great, spectacular. And this guy has a lot of the same traits that Greenlaw has. He's got a lot of the same traits that Azeez had. And Marcelino McCrary Ball is absolutely going to bust out this summer in Santa Clara. You heard it here first. Or at least if you didn't hear it here first, you heard it here. All right. Hope you enjoyed the 49er video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being our proud sponsor. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And thanks to all of you for supporting The Krueg Show on YouTube.